It's a wet Friday and the booze bus has swallowed your lane. You're not driving, your mate is. He winds his window down, license ready, and you sit back because this has nothing to do with you. Then the torch swings past him, finds your face in the dark, and the second officer leans in. IDs, everyone. Your hand's already going for your wallet. Stop it there. That line isn't a rule. It's a habit they count on. Because in New South Wales, since the day lepra came in, there is no power to make an innocent passenger hand over a name. Not at an RBT. Not because everyone. The driver owes plenty tonight. You, sitting still, may owe almost nothing. And the difference is a name you're about to give away for free tonight. What that costs, you won't feel tonight. You'll feel it if this reaches a courtroom. Sit with the strange part because everything turns on it. The stop cost them nothing to make. Random breath testing is suspicionless by design. That's not a loophole, it's the whole point. And every bit of it is aimed at the person behind the wheel. The license, the breath, the questions about the road. Your mate's problem, not yours. Nothing in that machine reaches across the console into the passenger seat on its own. It reaches you only if you carry it there yourself, with a name, an answer, a hand going for a bag. And the scale of this is hard to picture until you hear it. In the year to June 2023, New South Wales Police ran 3,727,999 random breath tests, nearly 4 million stops in a single state in a single year. And in almost every one of them, the person in your seat owed nothing at all. Barely one driver in 200 even blew over. The machine clears nearly everyone, and the passenger it was never built to touch. The driver's obligations don't travel across the gear stick, so the officer needs you to bring them over for him. That's the whole game tonight. And the first move is to make a request sound like a law. He still hasn't looked at your mate's license. He's looking at you. So here's the ladder you're standing on. 3 rungs, 1 sentence. You give a name, the name earns a question, the question earns a search, and the search earns a court date, where your own friendly, yeah, no worries, is Exhibit A. That's how a night you weren't even driving becomes a night you're explaining to a magistrate months later in a room that smells of carpet and coffee. So here's my promise. By the end of this video, you'll have one calm sentence that closes your part of this stop without refusing a single thing you're actually required to do. And stay with me, because there's a trap folded into that promise. There's one moment where staying silent is the mistake, where the refusal itself is the offence. And I'll show you exactly where that line sits. Quick word on who's telling you this. There's no invented career here, just plain English Australian law, checked against the statutes, every section sitting in the description so you can read it yourself. And this isn't anti-police. Most officers are professional and well-trained. That's exactly why you should be too. But first, the short list of what you genuinely owe. Start with the musts. Because for a passenger, they're narrow. And knowing exactly how narrow is what keeps you safe. There is a version of tonight where your name is owed. If police reasonably suspect the car itself was used in or connected to an indictable offence, then a passenger must give name and address under Section 14 of LEPRA. And refusing that is an offence under Section 16(9) up to 50 penalty units, $5,500 or 12 months. If they lawfully direct you to step out of the car, you step out. That's Section 38. And refusing a lawful direction runs to Section 39, the same 50 penalty units or 12 months. Once a lawful requirement's been made, you never give a false name. Section 13. And if they reasonably believe you were actually driving, or you're the licensed adult supervising a learner, then the breath test is yours too, under Schedule 3 of the Road Transport Act. He owes you something back first. Under Sections 201 to 203, his name, his place of duty, and the reason. Now hear this, because it saves people from themselves. There are no magic words. I'm a free traveller. I don't consent to being governed. That stuff has failed in every Australian court it's entered. That's not law, that's a charge. Outside those triggers, the name is yours to keep, which is exactly what the next line is built to make you forget. I'll need everyone's ID. Listen to the shape of it. Not can I'll need. It's built as a requirement because at a dark window, a request you can refuse, and an order you can't sound exactly the same. And almost everyone resolves that split second by reaching for the wallet. But hold still and ask what's underneath it. Under Section 11 of LEPRA, police can only demand your identity where they reasonably suspect you can help investigate an indictable offence, or where they're about to move you on. Sitting quietly in a mate's car at a breath test is neither of those. So there's no power beneath everyone's ID, just the quiet weight of a uniform and the assumption that a group request is a group order, which means the name you're about to give isn't compelled. It's volunteered, a gift dressed up as a duty. Watch the wrong response, because it's the most natural thing in the world. The wallet comes out. Yeah, here you go, mate. And a name that no power on that road could have taken is now written in the notebook, permanently, next to the time and the plate. Once your name's on the page, the friendly questions finally have somewhere to land. So where are you two headed tonight? That's door 1. Answer it and door 2 swings open. Where'd you start the night? Then door 3. Whose car is this anyway? Then the last one, soft as the rest. Anything in the car I should know about? None of it feels like a trap, because none of it sounds like one. It sounds like a chat on a wet night. But here's the asymmetry. Under Section 89 of the Evidence Act, your silence at that window generally can't be used against you. Your words, though, are permanent. The wrong response is 4 friendly answers, because now there are 2 accounts of the night that have to match. And if he says the pub while you say a mate's place, an honest difference just became something to dig into. Say you swap one small detail, and an honest gap reads like a story coming apart. The torch drifts down off your face to the bag between your feet, and here's the no-win the whole moment is built on. Talk a lot, and it reads nervous, over-explaining. Go silent and stony, and it reads evasive, uncooperative. The account gets written either way. The only thing you actually control is whether you feed it grounds. Then comes the softest line. Mind if I have a quick look in your bag? A passenger can only be searched on reasonable suspicion under Section 21 of LEPRA, and you haven't given any. Your bag is closed, unless you open it. In DPP versus Leonard, a search is lawful the moment you consent, even without grounds. Your yeah, sure doesn't just allow the search. It creates the power he was missing. And the shield runs the other way, from Street versus Bauer. Refusing that search can never by itself become his grounds. The no is free, the yes is everything. So the wrong response hands him the one key he couldn't take. Which is exactly why the advice you picked up from American videos will sink you here. Because almost everything you think you know came from over there, and over there is a different country. In the US, they have stop and identify laws. Americans shout, I plead the fifth. Bring that script to NSW and its noise. What actually works in this country is quieter. Make him name the power. The standard is reasonable suspicion. In R versus Rondo, Justice Smart set it out. It involves less than a reasonable belief, but more than a possibility. And there has to be some factual basis. Being a passenger is not a factual basis. Same seat, same question, 5 different rule books. In NSW, the trigger is indictable. Cross the border and it widens. In WA, police can demand your name on suspicion of any offence. SA, NT and Tasmania all have broader triggers. The passenger in Perth owes a name the passenger in Sydney gets to keep. The beam comes back to your face. Here are the words. Say them with me, slowly, once. Officer, I'm a passenger. Am I free to go? If you're requiring my name, tell me what you reasonably suspect me of. Otherwise, I don't consent to a search, and I'd rather not answer questions. Again, because the second time is the one that stays. Officer, I'm a passenger. Am I free to go? If you're requiring my name, tell me what you reasonably suspect me of. Otherwise, I don't consent to a search, and I'd rather not answer questions. Screenshot this. Say it out loud once tonight so it lives in your mouth and not just on a screen. Now look at what each piece does. Am I free to go? Drags your status into the open. If you're requiring my name, tell me what you suspect me of, hands him a fork. I don't consent to a search, bolts the Leonard door. And I'd rather not answer questions, keeps the door shut. Delivery is half of it. Calm, polite, flat. And now he pushes. Push 1 is the oldest line there is. If you've got nothing to hide, why not just give me your name? And you hand the sentence straight back, unchanged. Officer, I'm a passenger. Am I free to go? If you're requiring my name, tell me what you reasonably suspect me of. Otherwise, I don't consent to a search, and I'd rather not answer questions. Against a machine that runs millions of these stops a year, being boring is being invisible, and invisible is the whole win. The most forgettable person in that car is the one who gets to go home. Push 2 comes with a little edge. You're making this harder than it needs to be. Same words, same flat tone. Third time you've heard it now. Muscle memory. Which was the point? Because at the window, you won't rise to the moment. You'll sink to whatever you rehearsed. Picture how this usually goes, because it usually goes one way. Torch on your face. IDs, everyone. Officer, I'm a passenger. Am I free to go? A pause. Just checking. What's your name? If you're requiring it, what do you suspect me of? Otherwise, I'd rather not. A longer pause. Because there wasn't a suspicion, there was only a habit. Yeah, righto. You right to head off. Nothing in that was defiance. It was a passenger who did every lawful thing asked of him and handed over not one thing extra. But there's a fork just past this point, and one arm of it is the warning from the very start of this video. Am I being detained or am I free to go? Ask it plainly because it forces his hand. If you're free, you leave. If you're detained, he has to name the power. And now the trap I promised you. There is one place where silence is the mistake. If they believe you were driving, refusing the test is a serious offence. 2 edge cases before we close. The bag and the phone, never consent, even when it feels rude, because rude is free and consent is forever. And if you're the registered owner riding in your own passenger seat, owner disclosure duties can still reach you under Section 17. Two people never to become: the over-explainer, who narrates his whole evening to prove he's fine and gift wraps the brief, and the roadside lawyer, who argues rondo through the window at a man who stopped listening 2 sentences ago. An argument that wins in a courtroom and loses on the bitumen every time. And carry this number with you. After a drug dog flags someone, the 2006 New South Wales Ombudsman Review found nothing on about 3/4 of the people then searched. The suspicion is wrong most of the time. Put it together and you're part of this stop closes clean. Every one of these, the everyone line, the doors, the bag, and exactly which states can make a passenger talk, I've gathered in a book called Know Your Rights, linked below, waiting for the night you're just along for the ride. Let's put it all together. Officer, I'm a passenger. Am I free to go? If you're requiring my name, tell me what you reasonably suspect me of. Otherwise, I don't consent to a search, and I'd rather not answer questions. 2 things you can't hold back: a lawful name requirement and any test where they reasonably believe you were driving. Everything else is yours. This is general information, not legal advice. The trigger changes by state and the law changes with it. If your night has gone past a stop, the video ends and the lawyer begins. And legal aid exists in every state. So subscribe, not for luck, but for the next stop. The second police say indictable or point a drug dog, everything flips. That's the next video. Back in the passenger seat, the torch beam slides off your face and drops away. Your wallet's still in your pocket. The name was never given. You ride home.